Okay, so what I'm going to do in this very quick video is just run back through the steps that we used in class when we wanted to have StatCrunch construct our frequency distribution. So what I've done here is I have just entered the 30 speeds that we went through in our notes where we constructed our frequency distribution by hand. All right. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to label at the top. Right, these are speeds. That way I'll have a label when I construct my graph. All right. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to put the speeds in ascending order. All right. To do that, I just hover my cursor up here at the top of the column. When that little arrow shows up, I click it and I go to sort table ascending. All right, so now I have everything listed in ascending order, right? I can very easily identify my minimum and my maximum value, which remember is what we use to determine the appropriate class width. Okay, so at this point, if you're constructing a frequency distribution, what you would do is you would take your maximum, subtract your minimum, divide by the number of classes you want to have, which for us was 6. And round it up to the next whole number, right? And that is how we determine that the width we should use for these classes is going to be equal to 7. So to use StatCrunch to construct a frequency distribution, once I know my width, I'm going to go to Stat, Tables, and Frequency. All right, now the main things I need to do in here, I need to select my data. All right, so I want to do this with the speeds. Skip over the next 2 boxes. Here you can specify exactly what you want it to find. If you just need frequencies, then click on frequency. All right, if you want all 3, like we did in our notes, click on frequency, relative frequency, and cumulative frequency. Skip over the next 2. Make sure you click to bin. That's what creates classes. And then always enter your minimum value for the start and the width that you calculated using your formula. That's what ensures that you come up with the same classes that we got when we did this by hand. And then the last thing that I would encourage you to do is to click on this box to store it in the table. That way you'll have it later when you need to pull different pieces of information. So now I'm going to click compute. And you'll notice right here, it has given me classes of data, frequency for each class, relative frequency, we typically round those to 2 decimal places, and cumulative frequency. All right, and you can verify with what we did in our notes, right? The same things that we got for each one. The only exception is StatCrunch shows the classes a little bit differently. All right, because it doesn't know that we are dealing specifically with whole numbers. It shows the upper limit of a class with parentheses. All right, now mathematically, a bracket means that number should be included. Parentheses means that number should not be included. So this is red 35 up to 42, but not including 42 because 42 is in the next class. Now, because we're dealing specifically with whole numbers, right, what you can do to make sure that your class limits do not overlap is just say, okay, if this does not include 42, then I'm going to go ahead and back it down to 41. And then notice that's the exact same thing that we had for our first class in the notes. And I'm going to do the same thing for every one. So if this is not including 49, I'm going to back it down to 48. Take this one down to 55 and make sure you do that for every class, including the last one. And now what you should see are the exact same 6 classes that we constructed in our notes, same frequencies, relative once you round them, and cumulative.